How do you measure the economic impact of diversity? Rice University demographer Dr. Stephen Klineberg joins me with some insight into the Houston area and beyond. Nice to see you here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Let's start with Houston, the most diverse city in America.
Who knew?
Just how diverse is Houston by numbers?
Well, so the essential story of Houston is that during the oil boom years of the 60s and 70s, Anglos, non-Hispanic whites across America were pouring into Houston. This is where the jobs were. By 1980, Houston had become the fourth largest city in America, still an overwhelmingly Anglo city. After the oil bust of 1982, the Anglo population of Harris County stopped growing. And all the growth of this, the most rapidly growing city in America, has been the influx of African Americans, Latinos, and Asians. And this biracial southern city dominated by white men has become the single most ethnically diverse major metropolitan area in the country.
And what are the expectations in terms of projections for how that diversity will continue, say by 2020?
So once it begins, and once you've got your critical masses and your connections, it's likely to grow. But what's interesting, of course, is that if the cities that have grown in the last 30 years are the cities that have been magnets for the new immigration that has transformed America. And so had Houston not been one of the magnets for that, Houston would have had the same fate as other major cities in the country that are losing their status as major cities. Philadelphia, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, cities that have stopped growing. Doesn't mean that they're not great cities, but all the dynamism that comes from new ideas, new people, new energies are happening in those cities that have become magnets for the immigration. Houston has been at the forefront.
So the economic impact then is the year-over-year growth that you see in a city overall. What about through...
So 1/4 of all the residents of Houston are first-generation immigrants.
What are the challenges that presents in some cases, whether it's integrating into a community or language barriers? Do we see workplaces have to accommodate?
You bet. Well, America has always been a land of immigrants until 1924. Between 1924 and 1965, immigration basically stopped. And now suddenly we become a nation of immigrants again. And so you got all the, and there's the Americans have this basic tendency of the last wave of immigration turned out to be good for America. This wave is destroying the country. We thought that way when the Irish came, and then when the Italians came, and the Greeks, and now with the Latinos. And in every case, it turns out that the new immigration fuels the energy and vitality. One of the questions that we ask in our surveys is do you agree or disagree with this statement? If you work hard in this city, eventually you will succeed. People in Houston believe that more than people in Los Angeles and New York. We've replicated that question. But the people who believe it the most are Latino immigrants. And it's that immigrant faith, that belief that this is a land of opportunity that is stronger among immigrants.
Are you concerned at all by some of the rhetoric we've heard during the political campaign in terms of immigration?
Well, it's not surprising that not everybody's happy about this. Right? This is a big change, and it's combined with growing inequalities in the economy that has locked people in poverty, and the good blue collar jobs have disappeared, and they haven't been replaced by jobs that people are qualified to do. So that you've got some real anxiety out there in America. At the same moment as you got this sense of this amalgam of European nations becoming a microcosm of the world. No one consulted with me before all these people came. So there's a lot of tension out there. And what's interesting when we do our surveys, asking people in the privacy of their homes, how do you see the world? There is more positive feelings and more, and over time, Houston has been a city of immigrants for 30 years now, more and more sort of acceptance and indeed even a kind of embrace of this is who we are. This is what America will be. The essential epic transition that America's undergoing is that throughout all of our history, this was an amalgam of European nationalities. And America is becoming a microcosm of the world. The first nation in the history of the world that can say we are a free people and we come from everywhere. It's a truly remarkable change, and not surprising again that not everybody's happy about it, but it's also, that's where we're going. And so the most powerful predictor in our surveys of comfort with diversity among Anglos is age. Younger Anglos have grown up in a world where this is what makes America great. We older Anglos grew up in the 60s and 70s. That was a different place. So it's an interesting process of a city, of a nation undergoing just phenomenal transformation.
Well said, Dr. Stephen Klineberg. Great to see you here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.